Hey, I wanted to answer this question from a guy who wanted to know why all women are materialistic and just want guys with nice cars. And I'm like, why would you think that? What type of women are you dating that are so materialistic? Because we are not all like that. And it actually made me think of a story about me. Two of my best friends, Lindsay and Lisa, are adults, and they wear patterned socks. You know, polka dots, rainbows, what have you. And I used to give them such a hard time about them. Like, what are you, 5? You know? And so then they would give me a hard time back for my white tube socks. And then Lindsay started going to get her master's in counseling. And at one point she was just kind of doing this mock counseling session with me to try to unpack my fear of patterned socks. So she was asking me all these questions, and then all of a sudden she's like, is the root of the issue the fact that your mother didn't buy you patterned socks as a child? And I literally let out a gasp. I was like laughing, fake crying, but realizing, whoa, she just tapped into something that I had never thought about. I didn't get patterned socks as a kid, and all the cool kids had patterned socks, but we just had to get the cheap white socks. Anyways, so I realized that from not realizing that issue for me as a child, patterned socks had become something that I decided were stupid and dumb and childish. I missed the point of what was going on. I missed the fact that the socks were a symbol for something else. And so when I read your letter about why women are so materialistic, and you gave all these story after story after story and question after question, I mean, it was a long email, I noticed something. You mentioned something about a nice car about 8 times. And about how your car was used and it was a little worn, but you had paid it off, and you know, why do women just expect this, and that? And your first 2 stories that you shared, the first one was you were at church and you overheard these women laughing and saying, oh, I'll never date any man if he doesn't at least have a BMW. Ha 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 ha. And so then you were asking all these questions about that. And then your second story was that you had met this great woman on like a missions trip, and you both had a lot in common, and you talked about dating, but then she really challenged you to get your finances in order, and she didn't feel like you were ready to date, and she said something about your car. And so then as I was reading the rest of your email and I saw the car pop up and the car pop up and the car pop up, I realized you are just focusing on this reality that you think all women want a man who has a BMW and has X amount of dollars, and you're self-loathing about, well, I just wasn't born into a rich family, and da-da-da. And the issue, my friend, I believe, is that you felt very rejected by that one woman that you wanted to date, and you focused in on the fact that she challenged you in your area of finances. I don't know if she was right or if she was wrong, but now you filter everything and you hear all women saying things like the ladies at church. I'm guessing if they were laughing, they probably were being sarcastic, but because of your sensitivity, you heard it the way that you wanted to hear it. Kind of like, I mean, I always joke and say I'm never going to marry a guy that can't grow a beard. Except for that's actually probably the truth. I'm sorry. But call me closed-minded. I have to have that stubble. But I just want to challenge you to step back and go, you know, maybe God designed me to want to provide for my wife and a family someday. And that is a good thing. Don't deny that. But I think sometimes the strengths that God gives us and the ways that he wires us can easily be twisted and manipulated if we've been hurt in that area. So I think you're a good man who desires to provide for his family, but you have now let this become an insecurity out of a painful thing that happened in your past. And you're projecting this onto all women. And so I believe that we're not all like that. And I believe if you are just a man who is driven, a woman's going to be attracted to that drive, not a price tag. So don't let the women who are shopaholics drown out the women who are looking for a man with drive.
On the next Ask Joy, Joy proves that there are worse things than cold calves.
You guys ready for the day? Ready to go take on the world? Let's go. Let's do this.